Hi, I'm Mark from Vintage Iron and Restoration. Thanks again for tuning in for our Resto Talk. Today we're going to go over fuel injection. We're going to talk about a Phytech fuel injection system. Some of the things that we've run across and pitfalls that you can avoid. When you get your car, the first thing you need to do before you put the system on is we need to do a compression test. If you're not familiar with doing a compression test, you would need to have it done. You need a compression gauge like this. Your cylinders need to be in balance, as in if your compression is 150 pounds, they all need to be within 5 pounds of each other. Some of your higher compression motors will be 170. If that turns out to be good, then the next step you would need to do would be to do a leak down test. A leak down test, you pump 100 pounds of shot pressure into the cylinder with the valves closed, and we recommend taking off all of the rocker arms so there's no chance of any valves being partially open. Piston needs to be at the top of the stroke. 100 pounds in. If there's leak down, the percentage of leak down will show up in the second gauge. You'll have no more than 10% leak down on that, and any more than that could become an issue on your fuel injection. What happens is that if you don't have a good sound engine, you'll not be able to tune it like you would like. Sometimes carburetors will mask some problems because they're fueling over the problem. So if you can't do that, the best thing to do is at least bring it to a shop that can at least cover those two items and get you a clean bill of health on your engine. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the ignition system. If you have an old ignition system, meaning an old distributor and points, you will also have a possibility of hard tuning. You need a good fire in the hole to get the fuel injection lit. So we recommend switching over to an electronic style ignition. This is a GM-HEI. They have Pertronics, they have flamethrowers, which those two could be added into an older style distributor if you're trying to keep a car a somewhat of appearance of original. MSD makes various distributors for your cars. The next thing that we need to consider is our fuel system. Out here in Arizona, we run and we put the metal fuel line 3/8. With the kit, they give you a rubber line, and it's good, it will work. Our trouble here in Arizona is that we have heat and the rubber gets dry rot and cracks. So we don't install rubber from front to back, from the gas tank to the fuel injection. We will run a metal line front to back and then connect with a small whip or A&N fittings to the gas tank and then to the fuel injection system. The reason why we like to run the metal fuel line is because these fuel pumps are putting out 45 to 60 pounds of pressure. So it's very important that you have no leaks. It's very important that you test it to make sure that as the pump is on and deadheading, that there's no gas coming out. Your fuel pump for your car goes in your tank. Here again in Arizona, you have to have an in-tank pump. If you have a pump that's mounted on the side of the frame, the heat from the black top and just the ambient temperature out here will vaporize the fuel, and you'll have poor idle quality. You'll have terrible time tuning it. So we don't even put any frame-mounted fuel pumps on anymore. We do the in-tank. With the in-tank, some of your common cars, your Camaro, your Mustangs, you can buy tanks already retrofitted with the tops that will allow the pumps to just screw in there, and you just have to set the height of the fuel pump to make sure you're at the bottom of the tank. It's also recommended that you do a good filter so that you don't clog up your fuel injection. And if you have a new tank, that's great. You don't have to worry about old dirt in there. If you're trying to retrofit this on an older tank, you may need to have it boiled out or cleaned out so that you have no dirt going through the fuel system. This replaces your carburetor. It's pretty close to a bolt-in operation. Take the carburetor off as long as your manifold has the correct bolt pattern. Some of your older Corvettes have a smaller bolt pattern, in which case you might have to change the manifold. Adapters are not really recommended. As far as the wiring on it, about the only thing that you'll have to wire in is your power circuit, and they give you a harness for that. It's already fused. Your idle control motor and some vacuum lines. What controls the fuel injection is your O2 sensor. So that's telling you what's going through your exhaust, and it'll make it rich or lean. Again, that's something that goes in your exhaust pipe, so you would have to weld in a bung so that your O2 sensor will bolt into it. You can clamp it on, but it's highly recommended that you weld it so that you have no air coming in, because if you don't have an airtight seal on this and you suck air in, the O2 is going to automatically richen up your fuel injection. The beauty of fuel injection is that you can be down here at 1,000 foot and run good. You can run the Flagstaff and still run good. Again, like I said previously, it's more efficient. The engines run better, a little more power and a little bit more gas mileage. In the car, you're going to have your screen, and this also will light up and tell you your air-fuel ratio and your timing, your engine temperature. This helps you dial in a little bit better on the tune. Pretty much out of the box, they are pretty darn accurate. There are going to be a few tools that you're going to need. If it's going to be one time that you're doing this, it may not be worth buying the tools to do it, so you may need to, bring a fuel line in and get it flared, which if you were to call us up and you needed help with that, we'd be more than happy to do that. Again, the leak down in the compression test, if you have the capability of doing that, then great. If not, you need to bring it to a shop to get that done. Thanks for tuning in to Resto Talk. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Facebook to stay up to date on the weekly videos we are doing.